The fate of TikTok in the United States appears to have been decided. The U.S. Supreme Court officially upheld the law that would ban the app in the United States, effective on Sunday. That is assuming there is no last-minute save or sale. The site in the United States will go dark. Now, that law, which allows TikTok to be banned, is, I think, pretty stupid. It's called the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act. Right. Okay. Now, the government basically argued that, China should not be allowed to gather the personal data of American citizens. No. That privilege is reserved for American corporations only. Thank you. The court has also said that TikTok promotes or demotes certain content to advance its business objectives and other goals, which of course is, no shit. That's pretty much what every single company does. All right. That is also no different than any of the platforms, whether it be Meta, Google, whatever, Alphabet. There's like a handful of corporations that control like the vast majority of our media. So really, I can't really name that many more because there aren't really that many more. Okay, that's kind of the problem. But it's no different. Okay, Facebook, for example, gets all of our information, hands it over to, the cops. Okay, so X/Twitter, literally owned by a South African-born billionaire who happened to have dumped $250 million into Donald Trump's re-election campaign. He has programmed the algorithm to promote right-wing voices and to bury left-wing voices. Yeah. Meta products like Facebook and Instagram and Threads, for a while, completely buried politics. Okay? Still kind of burying politics right now, but I guess that's going to change. But right now, they've allowed the right wing to have a massive advantage on their platform. Okay. YouTube's algorithm is also more likely to recommend right wing and religious content to its users. I talked about that in a previous story a while ago. So yeah, I think there's a problem here. Okay. But the U.S. government sees this as like, see, China having a platform, that's a problem. Why? Because you can get facts there. I mean, look, TikTok was an enormous source of information about Gaza, where people often learned the truth about what's really going on. That is not State Department or Israeli government propaganda. Okay? And so, look, when you wanted to talk about Gaza on whether it be YouTube or Facebook, they shut that shit right down. Okay? Because once again, it went against the State Department. It went against, the stuff. We didn't want to be accused of being anti-Semitic, even though you're actually pointing out that, hey, there's a genocide going on in Gaza. Okay? But no, they wanted to shut, and by they, I mean the government, right? Basically to shut off any avenue for people to not be exposed to what is essentially right-wing slop. All right? That said, only American users will be affected by the TikTok ban, but not the government. And so here's a little irony for you. This is from a report by Ken Klippenstein, which said that U.S. State Department employees responsible for something called public diplomacy will not be impacted by the TikTok ban. They will still be on it. We know this because of an internal cable signed by Secretary of State Antony Blinken, which was obtained by the reporter. According to the document, the Biden administration has quietly exempted these personnel from the ban, regardless of any potential failure of TikTok to be divested of its foreign PRC ownership. Public diplomacy, of course, refers to the State Department's messaging targeted at foreign audiences to, quote unquote, promote U.S. interests abroad, or, put it another way, propaganda, to do propaganda on behalf of the U.S. State Department. So let's get this straight. The U.S. bans TikTok because, oh no, foreign propaganda. And yet they still use it so that they could do propaganda. Because of course, right? I know, shocking irony, except that it's really not all that shocking. It's completely hypocritical. That's why people are pissed. The Justice Department argued that China would be able to gather data on Americans or manipulate the content on TikTok to shape U.S. opinion. And yet, that same government is still allowed to use TikTok to shape Chinese opinion because, of course. Look, Biden didn't push back on it. No, he signed the bill. That's it. And this is a layup for Donald Trump, okay? Because you're basically lining it up for Trump to either do one of two things, right? First, overturn it and win the adulation of many, many young people who use it. That would be disastrous for us, okay? Politically, at least, but a giant win for him. Or he could then use that whole idea to try to go after, I don't know, other social media sites who might not be deferential to him. And that would be a problem as well. But yes, it's a dumb idea. Now, speaking of Trump, Trump's already met with President Xi, and he had previously promised to save the app. Why would he do that? Well, it's a layup. Banning this is such a stupid idea, especially since both the Biden and Harris campaign, okay, were aggressively using TikTok to reach millions of voters during the election. It is incredibly hypocritical of them to be in favor of a ban. The leaked cable notes the platform, now one of the most downloaded digital platforms globally, is increasingly a primary source of news for audiences around the world, including those under 35, a critical demographic for PD engagement. In the near term, conversations in the platform shape the policy environment in which we operate. Longer term, they're shaping the perceptions of a generation of foreign audiences. You know what I think this is? It all feels like an effort to try to control the populace of the United States by limiting the sources of information that they're able to view. They do not have a pro-State Department, pro-U.S. foreign policy view. They must be shut down. And again, this wasn't happening under Donald Trump. It was happening under President Biden and the Democrats. So there's that. All right. It always comes down to we must have the most pro-America, pro-State Department, pro-corporate position that we can. And if that means shutting down something that younger people, again, because they're getting their views outside of the mainstream, which is pro-State Department, pro-corporate, pro-America, well, then we got to shut it down. We can't have it. We can't have it.
Can't let that happen.
All right. And again, it's not just Republicans, it's Democrats as well that are playing this stupid game where the only winners are people like the State Department, as well as Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, who apparently now are all just big friends now. They're all just hanging out and they love each other now. When before, Washington Post, what a terrible place, terrible people. Now suddenly, they're all besties. Once again, it just so happens to be one of those things where it's the State Department propaganda versus reality and facts that are inconvenient, as well as, here you go, the 1% versus the rest of us. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.